Hey man, it's your boy Mr. V. Let's get it, man. Listen, welcome to my channel. Um, I know I haven't done this in a minute, so I'll be a bit rusty here and there, but you'll forgive me, man. I'll pick up in no time. Um, Please, before we go any further, subscribe, like, share, comment, do all the good things. It's nice to know that for some reason you are liking the content that as a creator we are bringing across to you, right? And your boys here, I ain't going nowhere. I know that I haven't done this in a long time, but I had to deal with some stuff here and there, try this, that, and the other, and I'm back to stay this time around. Look, I just thought, let me start this one by being a bit controversial. I don't know if it will be accepted all that well, but this is me and how I feel about some of the stuff, right? The one thing that I wanted to talk about more today was I watched McG when he was interviewing a certain gentleman. What's his name now? I'll tell you now his name. I tend to forget names, so you know that I'm bad with names. I'm horrible at times. What's his name again? This guy. Tell you now. Rob Hersov. Yes, that's his name. So, for me, I watched the interview with Rob Hersov. I had watched a little bit, which I still want to watch. I watched a little bit where he was with, I think his name is Black Pen. I think, or God Penwell, something like that. God Penwell, the Black Pen, I think. Anyway, so I watched the interview by McG, where he was interviewing this gentleman, Rob Hersov. I didn't know Rob Hersov, and I discovered that he's actually one of the South African billionaires. Right? Why am I really taking Namplanje? Okay. Anyway, so good. And then he did mention he actually told his story. How he grew up, where he grew up, what his family does, how they came to be, and so forth and so forth. I think they've got a bit of Russian in their heritage and a bit of Jews in their heritage, somewhere along those lines. But look, I liked how he presented himself, but I couldn't help try and understand behind the entire thing. My view alone says this guy was elected to come and pose himself as an alternative, right? A couple of people would need to get out of the way. For me, one of those people would be John Steenhuisen, right? If he has to come in and become the alternative to the ANC, a person who would seem like he has got nothing to gain by doing this, that, and the other, right? Because he's a billionaire. So, and he says in that interview that he is a minimalist, which means he only uses what he needs at a point in time. I don't know how this thing works, right? For me, I don't know how it works to be a minimalist and all of that stuff. Some of the words I was hearing them for the first time, but I heard when he was explaining what it's all about, what happens, and so on and so forth. However, he then says him being a minimalist means that he only uses what he needs, right? Yet he went and had a 3-day party. I think it was in Cape Town. There was another couple of days party in Australia. I think that's what he says he met his wife, or whatever the case. Now, He also said he said to what's the gentleman again? This is the richest man in the world from South Africa. Forgot his name, but you know him. He says him and his wife wanted to buy a ticket to space, but they said they wanted to be the first people to meet love in space. They wanted that permission, that assurance, and so forth and so forth. That's not a regular schmegular doing of a Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? You have to have money to be able to achieve such things. To me, that when I'm listening to that, that doesn't sound like a minimalist doing, and I could be wrong. I don't know these things, right? But when I thought about it, I was like, okay, he says it's DA. So if he has to go into politics in the structure that is set up now, which I don't think it will change anytime soon, the structure of politics through a political party in South Africa is what works for South African politicians, and they're not going to change it for anything. Not now. Yeah. Until they want to think for us as the people on the ground, that's not going to change, because then effectively what one is saying is that we want to take the food out of your mouth. I don't see them agreeing to that. Now, if he's going to go in and go through a party, who needs to be kicked out? John Steenhuisen. Nobody else. And he even threw a shot, like when he was when the show was ending, he threw a shot at him to say that he came here and made a fool of himself. You know, I learned some black names and so forth and so forth, or black phrases, as it were. And I'm like, okay, so he forces people to then look at him as an alternative, but he knew that he wanted to be an alternative. However, he has to go into it in two forms. Either as an independent, but if the independent route doesn't work, right, he has to go in through a party. And he says that he's DA, right? Now, for someone who's DA, I heard him talk a lot about ANC, about EFF. He said very little about DA. If I were in his position, I probably would say the good about DA, because I'm DA, right? Even though I may not be in the leadership, I would see certain things that are good about the DA and try and promote those. He didn't. That's just me, right? I think there is an area where these things are discussed, and he even alludes to certain discussions somewhere. He doesn't say where. He says he's not part of it, obviously because he's an outcast, right? Because he's spoken up against a lot of people and so forth, which I think is bullcrap. That's just me. I don't think that he can be in the position that he is in and not be part of certain discussions. I don't think that would happen. However, though, if he's saying that he is for a country where we vote for a leader as opposed to a party, I think Moses Maimane has been advocating for that. Why hasn't he put his money where his mouth is? Just give a Musi and say, okay, I'm giving you 100 million or half a billion. Go run with this thing and do it. To me, it then says, this guy, something was discussed somewhere. I don't know what. I don't know with who. I don't know how. I don't know what is the plan. But I can tell you now that he's a man with a plan, and he is not gonna stop until he gets there. And you know, funny, when he was talking about the whole thing, right? He talks about certain mafias in the ESCOM and this and that and the other. He does not point exactly who it is. But as well, he does not acknowledge that there is white monopoly capital. Is it there? I don't know. Right? I'm just a mere human being who's just breathing in and out here, going up and down, right? But I am sure that he, in the position that he's in, he's well traveled, he's moneyed, he's everything. He must know something. I think that something is cooking, and Sodlamakwi. Yeah, something is cooking and Sodlamakwi. One of these days, you will say I did say, right? I do see him going around this podcast, right? Obviously, the McG, the Penwell podcast, and apparently I heard this. I don't know from where, but I heard somewhere they said he identified black young podcasters or YouTubers that can spread his word faster and so forth and so forth. I mean, those are strategies that anyone can use, I suppose. But I think he needs to come out clear, say that this is what he's all about, this is what he's doing, this is who he is, and people must know, right? Not to wanna build it to make it like you were by default or accident. Some of us, because we know the strategies, we can see from far that this is a strategic move. This is someone who's just trying to put themselves in a certain position, right? He's not well articulate for a politician. So you can see when his face doesn't believe what he's saying, you can sort of see, right? As opposed to a Julius who, even if he is not telling the truth, it will be difficult to see, right? Because he has been trained so well, or he knows this thing very, very well. He knows how to convince you and to say certain things. So with him, he would be saying certain things, and you can see that he possibly doesn't believe what he's saying. And I thought I talk about him because for me there was a bit of discomfort with how he phrased a lot of things here, with how he positioned himself. The minute you don't want to accept that there are problems from the left and from the right, then you've got a problem. That's me, right? I didn't hear him identifying any problem from white people, and possibly those who are deemed to be the white monopoly capitalists, so to speak, right? I don't know if there is any of that sort, but I am damn sure that for someone like him, he would know for sure. The fact that he was able to identify your Gwede Mantashes of this world, your Cyril Ramaphosa's, your Zumas, and he said what they did wrong, where they went wrong, and so forth and so forth. He was supposed to have said the same thing from the capital side, right? Because I mean, it cannot be that somebody who is on the ground knows that so and so is controlling this, that, and the other, and he in his position doesn't know. I don't think it can happen. I mean, that's my opinion, guys. Don't have to agree with me. I am just a regular dude who's just breathing in and breathing out, right? And by so doing, I'm out.